Hello, and welcome to the Thyroid Warrior podcast. I'm Ebony, and I'm here as your wellness facilitator. I'm going to be sharing my experiences in managing Hashimoto's disease. I really hope that it'll help you on your personal journey. Keep in mind, however, this does not substitute for medical advice. It is only for your information and motivational purposes only. Now, let's get started. Hello, everyone. I just want to start off by saying you guys are doing an amazing job, and I know how difficult it is to create and keep goals and stay accountable for that. In this podcast episode, what I want to talk to you guys about is what happens when things go wrong. So by now, for a lot of people, you've either said, I'm not going to keep that goal, or it's just too hard, or I can't do it. And I just want you to take a step back and refocus. Think about why you set your goals in the first place and understand and recognize that it takes time to break old habits and it takes time to create new patterns. So I want you to stop beating yourself up, because that is a surefire way to A, not reach your goals, and B, it can make you sick. So it's really important for me that I reminded you all of that, because I've kind of fallen into that trap for many, many years myself. And for many of us, we work so hard to quote unquote prove ourselves, but you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You just don't. You don't have to try to work 10 times harder than someone else who's quote unquote well, or if, let's say, you've had to go to the doctor a lot and you're working full time or you're in school full time and you have all of these responsibilities and you have your coworkers looking at you like, why are you taking time off? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Frankly, it's not their business. But more importantly, you have to do what's necessary to take care of you. So I want to make it very clear that this is your journey, this is your time, and these are your goals. Along those lines, let's talk about what happens when, let's say, you set out to accomplish something and it doesn't actually work out. So one of the first things I want you to do is write down how that made you feel. Write it down. I want you to write down how you were feeling in that moment, meaning, are you sad? Are you anxious? Are you upset? Did you give yourself excuses as to why you couldn't get things done? Were you sick? Were you back and forth at the doctor's office? Did you have a lot of deadlines at work? Were you trying to take care of a lot of people in your family? Go through that process of really putting it all out there, because what I want you to get in the habit of doing is just deciphering the truth from the lies. And we kind of talked about this previously, but again, I want to remind you of these things and I want you to make it habit. What is reality and what is not? So if you're having moments where after you've written these things down and you're like, you know what, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I'm not focused enough, my brain fog is too much, those are lies. You are completely and totally capable of doing hard things. You are. I want you to stop telling yourself that you can't do something, because guess what? You're not alone. And it's my job and my role to kind of just be here for you and root for you. And as I've mentioned before, I'm a real person. So if you have moments where you're like, man, this is a lot, I'm on social media at Ebony Colina on Instagram and Twitter. You can email me at info@ebonycolina.com. I'm here for you. So if you need to kind of walk through some of the emotions that you're feeling and the things that you're struggling with, you don't have to do that by yourself. That's why I spoke about accountability. And that's why it's really important to me that you understand that you have someone that wants to see you win. Now, at this point, you've written down what happens when things don't go well. You're going through it and you're saying, okay, this is truth. This is not true. Now, what I want you to look at and what I want you to uncover is what positive things can you pull out of that particular document so that you can see the good that you have done. I'm very critical of myself. I have very high standards and I don't give myself a lot of grace. And as I mentioned before, I get in trouble, I get burned out, I get sick, and then I'm in my bed for 2 days. So I want you to learn faster than I did by allowing yourself to see the good. Allow that mindset shift to happen and think to yourself, man, despite being sick, despite something going on with my family, despite having issue A, B, or C, I actually got something done. Because done is better than not being done, and done is also better than being perfect a lot of the time. It's really important to go back to the earlier episode when we talked about how are you, and really go back to that, review, okay, here is where my mind was, here is what happened, here are the things in my past. Are those things true? No. Go back to your letter, read that letter that you wrote to yourself and say, hey, I'm doing the very best that I can do, and I have to accept where I am in this moment. I have had a lot going on, especially 2018, as I've mentioned, 2018 was the worst. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. But focusing on the positive, I was able to accomplish a lot. And what I realized coming into 2019 is that I'm capable of doing very difficult things. I'm emotionally strong and I'm putting in the work to get better. And so it's a lot easier after coming off all of those positive things. Like I kind of actually feel better in this moment saying that out loud because I'm like, man, I actually did that. And a lot of good things came out of last year that are coming into fruition this year. And it didn't seem like a lot of good may have come out of certain situations, but I followed up and hey, there's a lot that's going to be happening for me in 2019. And I really hope that the same exists for you because guess what? You're worthy of all of the good things that this world has to offer. So the other really good thing is, remember, we talked about accountability. Talk it over with your accountability partner. If you told that person that you wanted to have A, B, or C done by, let's say, the end of the month and you haven't done that, did you tell that person to remind you like, hey, I need to make sure this thing is done. Can you remind me on the 29th? Did they? If they didn't, either A, remind them, hey, I need this from you, or B, get a new one. Just like when it comes to having a doctor, and you don't like the results that you're getting from that person, you can get a new accountability partner. Be okay with not worrying about hurting someone's feelings as long as you're communicating your needs and you're being kind and compassionate in the process. People will understand. Sometimes you have to protect yourself and really focus on what you need to do in order to be well. And sometimes that means that you have to surround yourself with something or someone new in order to push you forward. So when things go wrong, I want you to write down everything that happened, write down the good, write down the bad. Look at the documentation that you have. If you're looking at the things that are negative, ask yourself, are these lies that I've told myself? Are these excuses that I've come up with? Or are these things that are just out of my control? Once you review those things, look at the positive. Did you actually accomplish one thing? Were you able to actually make a phone call? Did you schedule that appointment? And if you accomplish some major things, congratulate yourself. Celebrate it. No matter how big or how small, every day is an opportunity to start over, and every day is an opportunity to do something new. And I just want to tell you congratulations because you're doing a lot. The next thing that I want you to examine or reevaluate is if you've established a relationship with an accountability partner, check in with them. Sometimes life does get in the way and people inadvertently forget what their quote unquote obligation was. So either remind them or just say, hey, just wanted to check on you to make sure you were all right. If they have something going on, say, hey, I'm here for you, but you have to move on and find yourself someone that's going to hold you accountable. Again, you can do that in a kind and compassionate way. But you have to do what's best for you in order for you to heal and for you to be well. And lastly, what I want you to remember is that you have to give yourself grace. It is okay to have things happen that are unexpected. That's life. But it's how you decide to move on from that. And that's why I talked about mindset. That's why I talked about writing that letter to yourself. That's why I talked about accountability. All of those things have led to this moment to equip you with the tools so that when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, according to one of the lines from my favorite poems, don't quit. You can do this. So I really wanted to build on those things for this month because it's just how life kind of happens. And it's really important to me that you have the skills to be successful because I want to see you win. So I encourage you, if you've had things that didn't go the way that you expected, how are you going to recover from them? So let me know on social. I'm at Ebony Colina on Instagram. I hang out there a lot. Total Metamorphosis with Ebony Colina on Facebook. Let's have a conversation. Tell me how your month went. I really want to hear about it. And if you did something that was really phenomenal and exceptional, let me know. I want to celebrate you. So with that, friends, remember, what truth are you going to tell yourself that's going to lift you up and keep you focused? And I'm super pumped because next month is all about love, but it's not going to be in the traditional way that you expect it to be. So with that, be well, be whole, and be happy. Take care. Okay, thyroid warriors, get out there and take things one step at a time. Remember, be great, reflect on your triumphs, and as always, be well. Take care.